Welcome back, DNA Strand crew, to the newest episode of the Triple Threat Podcast here on the Dynasty DNA Podcasting Network. I'm your host, TJ Blake. You can follow me over on Twitter at FFTJBlakeDNA. And as always, we're joined by the one and only, Alaska's only Dynasty player, I call him, Nicholas Holt. You can follow him over on Twitter at DynastyWizFF. And let me just say this, Wiz, the card that you sent me, I really enjoyed that. I appreciate that. Mike, he sent me a Ben Roethlisberger, was a rookie card. It was like a cartoon almost. It's actually pretty cool. I enjoyed that. So I thank you for that, Wiz.
Yeah, it was like some like offensive player of the year, and it was like the weirdest card I've ever seen in my life. It's literally a cartoon. Like TJ, you should have like, had it ready to. Oh, there it is.
I always have it
ready.
Cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, so I enjoyed that. That will be going in my studio. So I can't give Wiz too hard of a time today yet. I mean, once we start talking about some of these players, I can't promise anything, but we might get there, Mike. You know how that is. But Wiz, we're looking forward to this show. Mike, we're joined by you also, the host of the Dynasty Dogs podcast, the one and only Michael Anthony. You can follow him over on Twitter at Dynasty Dog Mike. Mike, you ready to talk about some of these players, these 2024 disappointments? We're revisiting the graveyard of 2024, I like to call it. You know, maybe you picked some of these guys higher. It was really bad. So I'm anxious to get your thoughts. You ready to talk about some of these guys, see if they can rebound here?
Yeah, this might hurt some of the feelings. I haven't looked at who you're going to talk about, but some of us might have hurt feelings at the end of this.
Oh, I hope that wasn't directed towards me, Mike, because there's
it could be all of us.
Okay, it could be all
of us. We all
had
projected players that we were higher on from 2024 that kind of busted.
Yeah, that's for sure. And it's unfortunate, but it's going to be a good show. I can't wait to hop into it. And, you know, we got all kinds of great things coming up. I got to mention a few things very quickly. A new show will be coming to the Dynasty DNA Podcasting Network. I know what you guys are saying, TJ. You're crazy. I have so many already. But you know what? We're trying to up the ante. We're trying to get all the best Dynasty information out there. We got the best people in the space, people like Mike and Wiz already. We're adding to this team. We're going to grow it. We're going to try to bring you guys as much as we can and try to help you win your leagues. That's what it's all about. This show's going to be a good one. I can't wait. We're going to just tease it right now. We're going to be doing an episode of Fantasy Feud here this week, and we're going to be talking about just a little bit more, but stay tuned for that. I also want to bring up the Dynasty DNA Discord channel. I do it every show. I think it's good for everybody out there in listener lands, all you fantasy football fans, all you football fans in general. It's just a great place. It's a great community if you want to talk Dynasty trades, you just want to talk football in general, you want to meet some friends, you want to talk some anything football. We're there, man. Just come on over. It's absolutely free. It's a great place to meet some friends. At the top of our Twitter page at DynastyDNA_, there is a link. You click on that link. You can join for free. We'd love to have you. Keep spreading the gospel of Dynasty fantasy football, right? That's what we're all about. We try to grow the game. We all do it together. We have fun doing it. We love talking about it. We love meeting new friends. We'd love to have you guys. But we're going to be visiting the Dynasty graveyard for 2024. And, you know, this is going to be an interesting yet painful, as Mike was saying there at the beginning, kind of revisiting this because there were so many players that we believed in, other people believed in, and they just fell flat on their face, right? It just didn't work out like we hoped, maybe some of the other people hoped. So we're going to kind of just see how we feel about them going into 2025. And I want to know what went wrong in 2024. So, like, Mike, if I ask you a player, or Wiz, if I ask you a player, I want to know, in your opinion, is it just the player? Is there something else that went wrong in your mind? And can they possibly rebound in 2025? Or maybe you just done with this player altogether. Let's just forget 2025. Maybe you want nothing to do with them going forward. So I'm anxious to collect your thoughts on that. But, you know, let's start with you, Wiz. We're going to get you hot off the press here today. We're going to be revisiting a running back that resides in Florida named Travis Etienne for the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? Coming off that really nice season in 2023. What a big-time disappointment in 2024. But let me just say this. We all know Jacksonville was an overall disappointment in 2024, except for the exception of Brian Thomas, my main man.
And Mac Jones.
Yeah, and Mac Jones. Well, you're just such a fan. We had to mention him. I mean, Jesus, man, we bring his name up on this show. But anyhow, Travis Etienne, I want to know, Wiz, what went wrong? Are you hopeful that we see a better Etienne in 2025? And what's your opinion on this offense? And where are we at with him going into 2025? We want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. To be honest, I feel there's a lot of things that kind of went wrong for Travis Etienne. It's nothing really. I wouldn't say most of them are not his fault either. I can't remember if he was banged up a little bit to start the year as well. I think there's a lot of different things, but Tank Bigsby kind of showed up a little bit, took touches away. The offense underperformed, which did not help anyone, right? The one that looked good was Brian Thomas, but that's because he made the plays by himself with his yak ability at plays to get into the end zone, right? So, I mean, outlook into it. I mean, camp news is not looking good. New coaching staff. They brought in Tootin that kind of plays a similar role to Travis Etienne. Tank Bigsby's been getting praised all throughout minicamp, saying that he's looking like the clear running back one for the Jaguars. So with like all these like different things, I think Travis Etienne's like one of those players that would benefit from switching teams at some point. I think that's what's best for him. I know they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. So does he land somewhere better next year? Hopefully. I think that's what he needs in his career. This year's a little murky, and I just don't know. Like, he's definitely going to get touches. I just don't know how relevant he's going to be. Is he going to – I'm probably like a 40% confidence that he's going to finish as an RB2 this season.
Okay. So we've seen him going. Wiz, we're just in a recent startup together, going in the 9th round. Running back 35 last year, as you mentioned, did miss just a couple of games. It wasn't nothing too serious. But, Mike, how do you feel about ETN? Because, Wiz brought up, a little bit banged up. That was a little bit of an issue. I mean, I remember whenever he come in and had that catastrophic ACL injury right away, that really set him back. Now we do see the new coaching staff coming in. I know you guys are a little bit higher on Bigsby than what I am, but do you have faith even, let's just say, in maybe him being an okay buy low for down the road? Maybe he gets an opportunity somewhere. Maybe he leaves Jacksonville. Or is this a guy you think maybe, hey, he had his few minutes of fame and this is it? What do you think about it?
Yeah, kind of going into this offseason and into training camp, I was like, you know what? He's probably a decent buy low at this point. And then training camp starts and it's Tank Bigsby kind of leading the running back room. ETN is having a ho-hum training camp. I think I'm just kind of out. I'm just looking at some of his numbers from last year. He's pretty inefficient, 150 carries, 558 yards, 3.7 yards per carry. That ain't really going to get it done compared to Tank Bigsby's 168 carries, 766 yards, and 4.6 yards a carry. That'll get the horses going, a nice 4.6 yards to carry, except for TJ Blake, who doesn't believe in having carries over 4 yards a carry, apparently. Listen, I am out on ETN at this point. I think Bashal Tootin, and I think I said it here before, is more of a detriment to an ETN than he is a Tank Bigsby. They're two completely different running backs. He's closer to ETN than he is Tank. I'm just kind of out now, to be honest. I just really, if I could get a second for him still, I'm moving him.
Even a 26-second, Mike, at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, so that's almost like really, out. So anxious to see what you thought of that. Honestly, I think I tend to agree with you here just a little bit. Look, I will say this, like, if you get him as a rebuilder, as a throw-in or something like that, I don't mind it, and just hopes like maybe he has a bounce back and you could flip him for more than what you got him for, right? I mean, I'm not saying go out and buy him specifically, but hey, I've gotten players that are a throw-in that's not worked out, and this guy's put up big seasons in the past. I mean, he's capable of it. I mean, I don't think he's going to be a guy that's going to be a dominator, but do I think maybe he could eke out one more pretty nice fantasy season and maybe as a high-end running back to finish? I think it's entirely possible. And, I just think that he's going more towards a high-end handcuff, right? I think that's kind of where we're going with this. I mean, I don't think he's a 3-down guy really either. I mean, it just hasn't worked out between the tackles, as you mentioned, Mike. And, you want your running back, he's got to be that meat potatoes guy that can get those yards. And I don't think that is Travis Etienne's game, but, he could be more of heading towards a high-end handcuff. So all I'm saying is, maybe you don't want to buy him now, and I totally don't think that you should. I'm with you on that. Maybe down the road his price will get super low, though, and if he goes to a team like the Chiefs, someone like that, he could provide you a little bit more value, and you could get him for a bit of better price. But I'm not getting sucked into the trap of him being this superstar player either. But, man, I'm thinking he's more of a high-end handcuff. Can you agree with that, Mike?
Yeah, I think he's a decent handcuff at this point. But the problem is, you mentioned buying him as a rebuilder and hoping he goes somewhere else. He's 26 years old, going to be 27 by this season's end. So I don't really know if he would even be a great rebuilding piece or rebuilding hold, because by the time he's going to be useful to you, he's going to be in his late 27s, 28 years old.
Yeah, but you could always flip it like on. Like
But
I
again,
think DJ saying more is like flipping, like same thing as like Javante. If you would have bought Javante for a pair of socks last season, you could sell them for 2/3 now, even with the Cowboys. When the news broke.
yeah, but that, I mean, you're selling them for a second, but then you're getting 2/3. Wouldn't I still rather have that
Oh,
second?
no, I mean like buy them for. I'm saying buy them way cheaper, just flip them later on for like slightly more profit. Like I think Travis Etienne, like we've seen his value kind of just shoot underneath him, and I do agree with you, Mike.
Oh
But
yeah.
I mean, in reality, what are you going to be flipping him back for? You're only going to get handcuff prices, probably not even.
yeah,
Well,
but we've seen like teams, right? Like Cowboys, like they have not really been able to draft running backs since I guess you could make Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott, but Ezekiel Elliott was like as blue chip as they come, right? They like to sign these guys in for 1 year deals and see what they got. If they, that's why they have Javante, Miles Sanders, and they have Jadon Blue and Deuce Vaughn still back there. Like I don't know. Like to me, like I think Travis Etienne like going there is a possibility. And then you still have teams that need running backs throughout the time, right?
yeah.
See, my problem is that we're always hoping that they go to these blue chip teams. Like we always hope that they go to Kansas City. We always hope that they go to Dallas. We always hope that they go to X, Y, and Z. And it just never really seems to end up that way. He's going to end up in Cleveland, is what's going to fucking happen, because that's
Oh, that is
typically
true.
yeah.
And then his values can go way down.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, I'm not trading for him as a rebuilder, like, and giving up draft capital. Like, I'm saying, like, if he's a throw in or if he's something I can get extra, maybe someone's just willing to, like, hey, we talk about teams wanting to tier up, right? Like, they'll just give you ETN plus a draft pick for another running back, right? I don't mind that. That's what I'm saying. So, like, and then you gamble in hopes that maybe he can have that season and you can flip him a little bit. But, like, what I'm saying is if he does have that season, if you're lucky enough, if you get him as a rebuilder, as a throw-in type player, and he does have that season, I agree with you, Mike, entirely. Like, if you're lucky enough to have that happen, I'm flipping him again right away and trying to get as much as I can, because I think that is very, very important and crucial. But, Mike, I'm coming over here to you on this one. This one was a really big disappointment. So many people really launched this guy up into the stratosphere. We're really it's just like this RIP. We're visiting the graveyard. You're sitting there sobbing over some of these. CJ Stroud, Mike. Here we go.
Okay.
Because, we heard so much last year, Dynasty quarterback 3. I mean, coming off that rookie phenomenal season, it was hard not to elevate him with his age and his talent, right? And this team seemed like it was growing. A lot of people in the space were headed that way. And you can't blame people for thinking that. But really disappointing season. A lot of changes in Houston as far as look, I mean, I remember when Bobby Sloak was one of the hottest names as far as an offensive coordinator going to be getting a head coaching job. And that just completely fell out and he got fired there. New system, new offense. We see new receiving talent coming in with Higgins, the Iowa State guys, and Noel, obviously. And this offensive line kind of teeter-totter. Now, what went wrong, in your opinion, with CJ Stroud in 2024, Mike? Can you see any kind of a bounce back in 2025, and long-term, how in are you on him, and what's your thoughts on him overall?
So what I've been preaching about with CJ Stroud is I think we're going to get, his high of his rookie season and then the low of this past year. We're going to have something in the middle for him, pretty much, I would imagine, throughout his career. A high-end QB2, right at that, like maybe even QB1, where he falls in like that 10 to 14 range, because he has the arm talent to be in that upper echelon. He also dealt with a lot of injuries from the wide receiver position. We had Stephon Diggs go out. I believe Nico Collins too was banged up. Tank Dell, one of, I think all of our favorite wide receivers coming out and into last year. He's, RIP to him, unfortunately, with the way these injuries have happened with him. So you can't put it all on Stroud, to be honest with you. So I'm in at the price range he's going at now. I think you mentioned it earlier. We were all putting him at that QB3. I fell victim of it as well. But again, if you're moving him back and you're getting him in, I think a lot of the times the third round, fourth round of your startups, I think that's appropriate value. I think that's great value. He's still super young. They added talent to that offense. The running back room is probably the biggest question they have right now. But I think Stroud is a decent value. And if you could tear down from, or even tear up actually from like a Jared Goff to Stroud, I think if you want to get younger, that wouldn't be such a bad option.
Yeah, and I like what you said there. I think that makes a lot of sense as far as like if you have one of them guys and you do want to move up the tier list and get to CJ Stroud, I have no problem with that. But like, and I'm going to get Wiz's thoughts here in a second, but I am worried about this year because we talk about, you mentioned it, him being more of that pocket passing presence, right? Like that's just his game. I mean, he isn't a complete statue, but he's not super mobile either. And like we talked about, maybe it was a mistake moving him up that top 3, but so many people did it. I think it's just us getting better as a dynasty community, right? I think it's so easy to get sucked in by age, and you should have just looked at maybe the style he plays with, right? Like it's going to be hard for players that are just strictly pocket passers to produce super high-end fantasy seasons consistently. Like we see the top 3 right now, the elite top 3, where we're at. We got Josh Allen, we got Lamar, we got Jaden Daniels. What do they all bring to the table? Yeah, they can throw it, but they can run it, right? Mm-hmm. So you get that dual threadism, and that really makes a difference. And we talk CJ Stroud, he's more of like a watered down Joe Burrow. Like Joe Burrow is like, I consider the elite of the elite pocket passers. Like if you're going to get one, that's the first guy that's going to go off the list. And CJ Stroud just isn't quite there yet. And you can make the argument that Justin Herbert's even better in that category, right? And I know you could appreciate that, Mike. You like him. And, honestly, though, I'm with you. I think he's a great buy because we talk about, but I'm just like, perception is reality. He's a quarterback 2. He's going to be a great high-end quarterback 2 to maybe a back-end quarterback 1, but he's the kind of guy you can win championships with long-term as your quarterback 2. I truly believe that if you're lucky enough to have maybe one of these elite guys, or if you have like a Justin Herbert and a CJ Stroud, that could get it done to win championships, right? So I just think perception's reality. This is what he is, but let's just embrace it instead of just throwing cold water on it saying this is terrible. Look, I get it. You maybe thought you got burned a little bit, right? Like it's like when you go to Walmart and you buy something. And I've done this many times. Like you go, like just like a wax ring. Like I bought a wax ring and there was no Johnny bolts in the package, right? It's like it upset me. I'm like, geez, oh man, I expected better. I got ripped off a little bit, but hey, it's still all right. We can make it work. It just is what it is. Wiz, let's talk CJ Stroud. We're worried about the offensive line coming into the season. I could expect maybe more of the same what we've seen in 2024. Mike, kind of mentioned some things. We can't put this all on him, and I totally agree with that. But do you agree with this thesis that, hey, maybe he's just a quarterback 2, a higher-end quarterback 2, and there's nothing wrong with that, and maybe you're still in on him, or where are you at? Maybe you're going the completely different direction. We know them people in Alaska like to do things differently up there.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things. Houston, like I feel like the biggest issues that affected CJ Stroud last season, right? It didn't help that Tank Dell went down with an injury. Stephon Diggs went down with an injury. Joe Mixon went down with injuries, and then they didn't really have a running game after that, right? You're cycling in and out. Dameon Pierce. I can't remember who else was back there, to be honest with you. Like just try to think about it. Like
I'll go Bulwale.
Yeah, I was gonna say
yeah,
I know.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you got all these different things, and that does not help when you have like a game plan going forward. Right, this is what we're going to try to accomplish this season, right? And then all those game plans go out the window, right? We saw CJ Stroud definitely try to play more. I wouldn't say hero ball-ish because he still, I mean, he definitely threw more interceptions last year, but it just the whole pressure was on him to win the Texans games every single week, like more so than what it should have been. We saw him run a little bit more as well. He almost doubled his carries, I think. Or no, he probably did almost double his carries, 52, 39. Yeah. So he increased his running amount, right? And I don't know. It just, to me, a lot of different things came on there. Second year of his tape. And I think addition with Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel is going to help him out. It's just they need to start building that offensive line. And that's something they have not really touched. It's gotten worse. Maybe in training camps can get better, train these guys up. Maybe they turn into better prospects. 26, on the other hand, looks like to be a good offensive tackle class per Google search. So hopefully the Texans take advantage of that. But that's the key. And I'm still in on CJ Stroud. I believe in him. I think he's a good talent, right? he's kind of like in that. He's kind of like the Jared Goff style of like quarterbacks. Like he's almost. It's I don't even know if it's like he's probably I would say he's above game manager esque, but he doesn't have that rushing mobility. But we saw that he can rush the football if he needs to, and if he could rush just a little bit more, I think that's definitely going to increase his fantasy value and help out fantasy wise. But I'm not selling him. I'm buying him, especially on the cheaper rates. Right, I get him in the 4th round in startups. If you get him there, that's a steal. Back in the 3rd, that's a steal. So.
Let me just say this, and I think Mike can agree with this. I want to see what you think about this, Mike, but like I could see this year him being a better buy even going into next year, because I think some of these struggles are still going to be there just based on the whole Texans product. You mentioned the running game, Mike. I'm worried about that too. Joe Mixon, we hear about this foot thing that he's got going on or whatever the deal he's dealing with.
I got Nick Chubb now.
So yeah. Well, I mean, let's hope and pray. I love Nick Chubb. I mean, he's a Steelers fan. He's one of the few Browns that I've always respected. I like Nick Chubb, but I mean, that's a big ask for a guy like that. And then they got the rookie Woody Marks. So the running game, the offensive line, I'm just saying, if CJ Stroud comes out flatter than a pancake, we see a lot of the similar things we've seen this past season. I'm not panicking, right? I just want everyone to realize that. I mean, hey, if I could take advantage and buy, I think he's going to be one of the better quarterback 2s long term. I think that's a great opportunity to get your foot in the door and get a guy like that for them kind of prices. So why not try it and see what happens? But we're going to hop back over here to you, Wiz. This one I'm really going to be interested in to see how negative you are, because I know it's probably going to be bad, but I just want to see how negative you are. Deebo Samuel with the Washington Commanders, right? I mean, now he gets traded. We talk about some of these veteran players, Ty loves to talk about them, especially running backs, but some of these receivers, I mean, Mike mentioned it. We talked about it last week. We've seen Devontae Adams have success. We've seen Mike Evans have success. But, Deebo Samuel, between the injuries, everything that went wrong with the 49ers, I mean, we're getting closer to the end. I don't care. I mean, he's not your typical receiver. He's that ex-gadgety guy. He's been running the ball in his career. He's still getting a lot of punishment. But what's your feelings on Deebo Samuel? Everyone's a little bit higher now. Maybe he moved back to Washington. I'm not one of them people as far as him getting traded there, giving him a fresh scenery in Washington. People are hoping maybe to see a bounce back. I don't think it happens, but where are you at, Wiz?
Yeah. I'm out on Deebo. It just with we see guys like him, right, in that 29, that 30-year age cliff, and the guys that win athletically with their athleticism. And that's kind of what Deebo is, right? He's a very gadgety, like good wide receiver to have on a team. And just he's very scheme oriented. I just don't think it's gonna be a perfect fit in Washington. I mean, right now, right, Terry McLaurin gets traded. It's gonna look like, wow, you should have really bought into Deebo Samuel because he's the default one, right? It's a good selling window. But I don't know, like to me, like I just rather not. Didn't you guys see that interview clip thing? I meant to watch it next. Yeah, what was that about?
They said, I think what it was that they didn't want to mention the hand, and then somebody mentioned it during the thing, and then he got pissed off about it because they said, he tweaked his hand, and then it was, he just jammed his hand, something like that, and then he didn't want to shake hands at the end of it. It was just weird, but I don't know. Something with the hand is going on.
Yeah, like the caption was like, the reporter accidentally reveals Deebo Samuel injury. I meant to tap it and like my Twitter refresh and I lost it, so I don't know what happened to it. But I don't know, like he looked like he lost a step, right? And we've seen this before in the 49ers, right, where he did not look good a season. He's like, oh, I'm going to come back better than ever, and he does. And this year he said the same thing. He's like, oh, I'm in practice, I'm in training, I'm going to prove myself. So maybe he does it again, but I'm just kind of out on Deebo. I think at best, right, he's going to finish as a back end wide receiver 2 this season. And at worst, he's going to be like a wide receiver 5. And I'm okay with missing out on that. Especially, you probably have to pay a little more than a 26-second right now for him, I'm guessing. Mm-hmm. Maybe a 26-second gets it done. But to me, like, I'd rather just go cheaper routes, right? I think you get Jacoby Myers for relatively the same price as Deebo.
Calvin Ridley, Wiz? Calvin Ridley?
Yeah, I'd take Calvin Ridley over him. Calvin Ridley's been having a really good camp. He's been showing out there. Or I honestly, I think if I was rebuilding, I would swap Debo for Roman Wilson straight up.
Oh man,
If that was the best offer.
God,
so you're really low on Debo, but Mike, you got to watch that highlight of Roman Wilson making that sick catch over Joey Porter in training camp there. That was pretty nice. But let me just
that's more of a detriment to Joey than it is.
Oh, I don't think so. But let me just say this. Honestly, with Debo, we talk about what went wrong. It's the injuries, right? I mean, like we mentioned it at the beginning, the wear and tear. And I get it. Like maybe they'll use him in more of this Excalibur role, but he's a guy that's just not super friendly to that. Like he just is someone that, that when he wants, like when he's going to be super fantasy effective, he's got to do all those things. And he's a guy that doesn't like to do all those things. And I know he's on a new team in Washington, but this is a polarizing player. When you brought up the hand thing, Mike, it reminded me of the guy on Scary Movie with the hand.
Oh, yeah.
My
strong hand.
That's what I thought of. But, Mike, I'll let you talk about Debo because I'm out as well as Wiz is here. Like, I'm not a believer. I think at best maybe you'll see a wide receiver 3 finish. I just think we're near the end of the rope here.
Yeah, I'm out as well. I mean, it's pretty much just copy and paste what you guys have said. Washington needs to like hope and pray that Terry ends his holdout, or they sign him immediately. And I think that's the only real way Debo is fantasy relevant. I think Wiz said wide receiver 5.
Yeah, I think that's just low.
Honestly, that's
worst case.
4. 4 is probably the best case, like wide receiver 4 finish, and that's really not piquing my interest all that much. And you're still spending like a mid-second on them to get them, probably even early second to get them. So I'd rather just, spend a little cheaper to probably get something of similar value this season. So if I'm a Washington Commanders fan, you better hope and pray Terry fixes, or they fix this with Terry, because Debo's not the answer. And he was schemed up well at San Francisco. Do we believe that Washington can do the same thing with him that he's done his whole career? I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah, and is he going to be willing to do it like we talked about? I mean, that's another big thing. I mean, he's just so up or down, hot and cold when it comes to that type of stuff. But we had to get him in there because that was a big disappointment from last year. And, I think some people are hoping that the grass is greener. I'm just not one of them people. But, Mike, we threw Wiz a changeup. I'm coming with you with a 4-seam fastball. We're bringing some heat this time because this one here is very interesting. And it's going to be a rookie from last year that broke so many people's hearts. Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh, come on.
Cardinals. I had to, Mike. I had to.
No, you can't. That's disrespect. Get him out the graveyard. That's not even.
It's a graveyard to so many people. Look, I'm a believer like you are, but I want to know though, is it going to get better? What happened last year, in your opinion? And do you think that he builds and becomes that player we all hope and think he can be?
I think it's a mix of a lot of things. I think Kyler and him were not on the same page. We've seen it. We've heard about it. They just couldn't figure it out. They get a full off season again to work through these things. I think he may have overplayed his hand a little too much, being just like this athletically gifted freak, this, big name college player who was destroying everybody. Maybe he just wasn't ready for the NFL level like he thought he was right off the bat, and like we all kind of thought of right off the bat. And to be honest, that's not all his fault because we have been blessed with these rookie wide receivers really coming in, and especially the early draft pick ones really have taken strides to be relevant right away. But everything I've seen with Marv, he's just in this offseason, and he's making plays. He's bulked up, which I think is important for him with the way he wins. I think Marv's going to be fine. If there's still a discount, because actually there is, he's going in that 3rd round around the JSNs, the Lab McConkeys, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm still like, I love JSN and I love Lab McConkey. They don't have the same elite upside that Marv does to be in that Justin Jefferson, the Jamar Chase range, because that's where we were putting him right away, right? And I think that's a bit of our fault. We just came up with this whole Stroud conversation of putting him up too high after his rookie season. Well, we've just doubled that and gave it to the next person, to Marvin Harrison Jr., but he didn't even play an NFL snap yet at that time.
And we're doing it again this year with JD5 and Ash Agenti.
True. Yeah, it's very true. So, TJ, I think you want to take back what you said because we're doing it all over again. But, I think he's going to be fine. The dude knows how to win. It's just I think him and Kyle. I think the biggest thing was getting him and Kyler on the same page.
I agree with you. And, honestly, that is a big thing, right? But and I said this about the Arizona Cardinals. I'm saying this right now. Watch if this goes extremely badly, not just for Marvin Harrison, but let's just say the whole Cardinals team again in 2025. Watch Kyler Murray as far as being a piece that might be on the move. Like, I've heard rumors about that. Like, I mean, we know he's a polarizing figure, that he's somebody that, isn't like some people, he just rubs the wrong way. And I think at some point, Arizona might get a little bit tired of that. I mean, it's entirely possible. We've heard kind of rumblings, kind of stuff behind the scenes. And I always say where there's smoke, there's fire. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I mean, maybe this all gets broken up and he gets a fresh crack at it. But I think that things will be getting better. I do think that there will be adjustments made. And I think even to a degree, how serious is Marv going to take it too? Because I think some of this is on him. Like, I know he's a guy that usually, could produce at the snap of a finger. He's used to doing that in college, but it's this NFL. You got to work. Things are totally different. You got to bring your A+ game every game, and things just ain't going to come that easy. I mean, he's that gifted. I think he's just got to put in a ton of work and really stay focused, and he'll be just fine. But Wiz, where are you at on Marvin Harrison coming into the season here with the Cardinals? How worried are you? Think we see more of the same? Do you think it gets better? And what do you think went wrong with that last season?
Yeah. Honestly, I think what a lot of it is that the Cardinals are just a dumpster franchise.
Maybe
whoa. The culture reference. We're bringing in a culture reference there.
I just was never a big hire on Mike Glennon being hired as their head coach.
Mike Glennon, quarterback. You mean Gannon?
Oh, Mike Glennon. What's his name?
Jonathan Gannon.
Gannon.
Jonathan Gannon.
Is it Mike Gannon?
No,
Jesus Christ. Jonathan Gannon. I said it 3 times.
Jonathan Gannon. Yeah. Anyways, I didn't like the dude anyways. All right. I remember like the first videos, like he had this real cringy, like, let's get to work, guys. Like he talk, like, I don't know. It just like, he's not a motivator. Right. And I don't know. Like, I feel like that team needs more of a structured base, especially with Kyler Murray at the helm of quarterback, right? I think he's really good if he's in a good structure. I think Robert Saleh would have been perfect there. But it just didn't work out that way. And I mean, the Cardinals have not really had a good season with Jonathan Gannon at all. So I don't know. I think that's a big thing to do with it. Offensive scheming wise, they're just not doing. And like we see Marvin Harrison get open on these routes, and Kyler Murray just does not pass him the ball. So I think there's a lot of it going that way. Trey McBride was kind of the focal point for that offense. He was hyper targeted. If Marvin Harrison's able to pull some of those targets away, he's going to obviously do better, right? And I don't know if the Cardinals have another shitty year, which odds are they probably will. They're gonna that regime is gonna have a change, and I agree with you, TJ. I think Kyler Murray is gonna be a possible trade candidate. What they could get for him, who knows? Just because he is signing that massive contract still. But yeah, I'm still all in on Martin Harrison Jr. He's like one of those guys I'm fine with losing out on. Right? This is I don't know. I would say it's like Kyle Pitts territory where, like, he had his good rookie year and then his sophomore year he sucked. And it's like, you get off the boat now when his value, he still has like pretty good value. If he sucks again this year, his value is probably going to drop way lower. He's probably going to be in the mid wide receiver 20. So if you don't have the cojones to hold on and ride this ship, then you probably should sell now and just understand the risk. But the upside of it is he can be wide receiver 1 overall in Dynasty fantasy football.
Yeah, and Mike mentioned that, right? I mean, he could be in that tier. Like, he has that much talent. I mean, I don't care. You watch the tape. He has that much talent. He could be up there with those guys we mentioned at the beginning as far as the elite guys. He has that ability. And, I've said it a million times. You guys know this. I mean, like, I've seen so many trades in the Discord where people are saying, hey, should I take Drake London for Marvin Harrison? Should I take JSN for Marvin Harrison? Like, yes, I mean, you could maybe luck out and benefit from that long term. You could. But, like, it's not like you're getting one of these super, super elite guys. Like, I like Drake London. I like JSN. I think they're good quality dynasty pieces. Don't hear what I'm not saying. But, I mean, when it comes to Marvin Harrison, I would be sick to my stomach if I moved a player that could have that. I said it. I lose sleep, Mike, I'd lose sleep over it. I can't do that. Like, I would just much rather say, you know what? I went down with the ship, and hey, if that was the best I could get, it isn't going to completely alter my team long term. Like, that's the way I feel about it. Like, when you're talking Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, maybe that could alter your team, right? But like these guys, not so much. I mean, they're good quality players, but I would just rather go down with the ship with Marv. But let's go back to Wiz, because this is his man. You know, this is the guy we've heard about all offseason. And, you know, we're hearing about the training camp struggles. Look at him smiling. He already knows who I'm going to be bringing up. Caleb Williams, Chicago Bears. Now, to be fair.
Oh, my God.
To be fair, there's people that are disappointed, Mike. Now, I believe in both players, but we got to talk about this because this is important, right? Because there's so many people right now. Should I trade? Should I get off? Should I? No, let's talk about it. Let's see what the struggles were, Wiz. This is your man. You know, we see a little bit of these whispers about him struggling at training camp and this and that.
I've heard the opposite.
Yeah, well, I mean, I seen a video today that someone posted where he was goofing.
Oh, with the fucking net. Come on.
Net.
We're worried about the net.
I'm not worried about it. People are.
TJ made me go find this video of this net thing. He's like, "Have you seen it yet?" He's like, "It looks really bad." I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
I couldn't wait to get Wiz so panicked over it.
I looked at it and I was like he looks like he's like just like
literally looks
that.
like
he does like he's not trying.
That game on the boardwalk or at the fair.
Oh yeah, when you make it through the tire.
Yeah, he gives a shit about that.
But see, that's why we have to bring this up, because it's just like stuff that we have to debunk, right? But honestly, look, I'm in you guys' camp. I'm not worried, but I want to see what Wiz thought went wrong last year and what the difference is going to be, because this is the Chicago Bears we're talking about, Wiz.
Yeah. Am I worried about Caleb Williams? No. I have a bunch of shares. I think I acquired another one in one of the leagues recently. So he might be my most roster quarterback, or he's close to being tied with Justin Herbert now for most roster quarterback. But, man, like, this is kind of going back to my Marvin Harrison Jr. kind of standpoint of, you know, if it goes really bad again this season, which his season last year was not that bad.
Really,
when you take everything that happened, right? Where, you know, they fired his OC. Well, at first the defensive coordinator got fired and before the season even started, right? And then you had the OC get fired like week 3, and then that like head coach got fired week 6, and then like, you know, like what are the expectations for him after that standpoint? And his stat lines are very comparable to Jaden Daniels. The only thing Jaden Daniels did that was better was I think he had a couple more passing touchdowns and he had more rushing yards. But Caleb Williams had less interceptions, a better pass completion percentage. So just looking at that, even with all the struggles around him, all the internal stuff where Shane Waldron was not going over film with him, did not give him any direction whatsoever on how to coach him at all. Like, it's crazy that he just sat down film. He just kind of had to learn for himself to figure out, oh, all right, this is what I got to do for this week. This is what I did bad last week. He had to critique himself without guidance. And I think that was like the biggest thing. Like when that report came out, I was like, that's insane that no one was coaching this kid. And I don't know, like to me, Caleb Williams is going to be, he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be a solid quarterback. I've said it before, but we've seen with Trevor Lawrence, right? Where he had the really bad rookie year and then his sophomore year was good. Wasn't great. It was good. And then his value recovered, and then he had a bad year again, and then his value recovered.
Yeah.
And now his value's kind of back down. But you had like 3-4 years of Trevor Lawrence, like roller coaster value of recovering and going back down, and you could have sold it any time. And if you held on in the bag for too long, that's your own fault, right? I think Caleb Williams, there's a good shot because he still has that generational tag with him like Trevor Lawrence did.
Okay, so Wiz, I know that you're a super believer. I know this is a player that you're really into, and I agree. I think it's going to be better, and I'm a big believer in Ben Johnson. I think that's going to be the difference. I said it a million times. Look, I know he hasn't been a head coach in the league, but I like his approach. I like the way he coaches. I like the way he kind of leads. He wants this responsibility to lead this franchise from detriment here, but you know, you're really high. How high? I mean, where's he going to finish? Because I want to know. I'm going to put you on the spot right now. I always do this a few shows in a row. That way I can try to, you know, get your feelings on Caleb Williams because the season's about to begin. How high are you? Where are we going to be? Is it going to be top 5? Is it going to be top 8? Where are you at?
Yeah, he's gonna finish as a top 5 quarterback this year, and then at the end of the season, he'll be a top 3 dynasty quarterback.
Okay. See, that's where the only little bit of a separation gap is. So you're super high. I'm a believer. I think it's going to get better, but I say it's going to be like 9 or 10. And I think it's going to be a solid 9 or 10. And I think they're going to win more games. I
Well,
think they're going to be better organized, better
but
prepared.
didn't he finish about that anyways? Like he finished like what 14, 16 last year.
Yeah, slight improvement. We're going to keep going, man. We're going to take these steps. We're just not going to launch straight to the moon, Wiz. We're climbing the stairs together.
And you think because he has an actual coaching staff now around him that's going to support him and like critique him and hold him accountable for his mistakes, that he's not going to just go through the moon, that he performed with all the dog shit around him and did what he did?
Well, you got to remember, though, Wiz, this division is tough, and this
Doesn't matter. The Bears are going to win the division.
Oh, he's super high on the Bears. I love the glazing action going on. The fans in the Discord will love it. Mike, okay, so I'm kind of with Wiz. I do think it's going to be better. Now, he's a little bit higher than I am. I'm saying 9 to 10. I think the Bears are going to be a better team overall. We're going to see more life breathed into the fantasy assets this year. And I do believe in Caleb Williams. I think he'll be fine. But, we had to bring him up. We had to bring Marv up because people picked them 1-2 in dynasty drafts last year, rookie dynasty drafts. And, I always know how it is. People always expect the savior to show up right now when you're picking that high. And that's just not how it works. I mean, you know how young players are, Mike. It takes time. But how worried are you about Caleb Williams, and what do you think as far as an overall improvement? Because I know that you're in the fan club of him getting better. How much better do you think he gets?
So when you mentioned the training camp being bad, I completely disagree. The past few days, he's been kind of heating up. The offense has been heating up slightly. The connection with him and Rome has been apparent. Luther Burden has been healthy, so he's looked good. Colston Loveland's looked good. So I think it just took a little time, because I remember you were right, though, at the beginning of the training camp, he wasn't making plays. He was struggling a bit, throwing a few picks. But now the offense is starting to blend a little bit. I imagine it's getting a little easier with this new coaching staff as time goes on. But I am a firm believer that he's going to turn it around, that the weapons that they gave him are good. The offensive line that they put in place is going to be much better than what they had last year with the 68 sacks, I believe it was. That's also on him. He's got to learn to get rid of the football as well. But to me, I think we're looking at a quarterback 8, 9 finish, because he can run the football a little bit. That's not really his Matt Forte, but he could have kind of like what Baker had last year with 300 some odd yards, maybe even more than that when it comes to rushing. So that'll be a good plus. I think we're really underestimating Baker, and I've just been scooping him up in the second round of pretty much all the drafts that I've been in.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's headed that way, and I agree with you, Mike. Like, all I'm saying is, like it's Chicago. Like, we hear all these negative reports. Like, that's all, like, people blast it out there, but until you really look into it and find out what's going on, like, I just got a kick out of that video with the net, because I'm like, people are just trying so hard to make this look terrible for Chicago. But honestly, I'm like, I think that everything's heating up. I'm a Caleb fan, and I think that this offense, these fantasy assets are going to have way more life breathed into them than they had in the past. Like, this is going to be great. And my key is Ben Johnson. I've said it all off season. If they would have hired anybody else, I might have still had some question marks, but I think they hit a home run they got who they needed to get, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. It just crazy to me that everyone in the NFC North right now is just like all punching down at the Bears. It's like, especially like Lions fans, like, okay, whatever, your offensive coordinator went there, but you have two other teams that have been more of a threat to you guys, like the Packers. Like, I think everyone could agree, like FTP, and I don't know, like the Vikings, you can leave them on. They're nice people up there in Minnesota. But it's mostly the Packers, dude. Like, everyone needs to hate the Packers that comes from this division. And it's just crazy to me that everyone's like digging down the Bears. But I don't know if you saw DeAndre Swift's little interview he did, TJ, when they asked him, what's the difference between playing for Ben Johnson as your OC and your head coach? And he took a while to think about it. Like, he had a smile on his face, and he's like, like he knew what he wanted to say. He's like, I can't say that here. He's just way more serious as a head coach because he has to be, and that's what he kind of ended off as. But I don't know. It just seems like there's this team's building a lot of camaraderie. It's building up to have a really good season. And I'm just excited to watch it unfold. However way it happens. Obviously I hope that the Bears do well, right? Caleb Williams does well. Roman Dunze does well. DJ Moore, Colson Loveland. Even I picked up so much shares of Colson Loveland. He's having a really good camp. That's another name that Mike did not mention.
I did mention him.
Did you mention Loveland?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. Oh, you left out DJ Moore, I think, which has also had another good camp.
Maybe I did, yeah.
Like his Loveland, him and Loveland have a good hookup right now. From all camp indicates, so Loveland could be an excellent buy right now as well.
Okay. Quick question for you guys. I saw this reel pop up on my Instagram feed the other day, or this morning, actually. It was two Bears fans. I guess they do a podcast. I'm not plugging anything. I just thought it was funny. The one dude asked the other guy, was like, would you rather beat the Packers twice this year or beat the Steelers with Aaron Rodgers at Soldier Field? The one dude said he'd rather beat Aaron Rodgers just so he can never talk about owning the Bears again, or beat the Packers twice in a season, sweep the Packers twice. The other guy said that. I just thought it was fucking hilarious how much they both hate the Packers and Aaron Rodgers at the same time.
It's always the Bears Packers. Their rivalry goes back way back, but I just know my dad used to be mad as fuck every time the Bears lose the Packers like that. You just can't talk to him for the rest of the day because you turn off the TV halfway through. He's like, this game's fucking over. He just middle finger to Aaron Rodgers was hilarious. Watched it back in the day. But it's Bears have not had a head coach since Lovie Smith that's understood the importance of that game. Right when he was doing his coach interview, they asked him what's the most important thing. What are your goals that you want to accomplish? And he was like, beat the Packers twice a year. That was his first thing. He knew how much that rivalry meant to the fan base and means to the organization. And I feel like hopefully with Ben Johnson coming over, he understands that this when you're pointing out your calendar games, those are your two must wins. You have to scheme everything right to win those two games. You could lose the rest of your games. You have to win those 2 games a year, at least win one. It's been discussed how much the Bears been getting beat down, but we could move on to the next topic. Stop glazing the Bears so much, TJ.
I just thought that was funny, that conversation, that they hate both of those things so much that they were split on it.
Especially you would see at the Clay Matthews, he would have when the Packers were about to play the Bears, he tweeted one time, it was a picture, he's his bear hunting tag permit, and it's always going back and forth.
Ben Johnson should understand the rivalry, though, especially coming from inside the division himself. So,
that's why I think he's the perfect hire in more ways than one, right? I really do. But let's get into, we talk about tight ends. Let's continue to talk about a little bit of tight end because we're going over here to Mike on this one, Mike. Dalton Kincaid.
Oh, man.
This is Wiz's man. He's got the mini helmet back there.
This is Mike also had some love for Dalton Kincaid.
I still kind of do.
It's a love-hate relationship with him.
Yeah. I think he's going to be all right this year. Again, I brought up last year the vacated target stuff, and that really didn't end up being anything. But he also had a pretty severe injury that just started coming out this offseason that he dealt with all of last year and played through it. So kudos to him for doing it. But maybe you should have rested a week or two to see if you could help us fantasy people out just because we started you didn't do shit. But, it's going to be tough because Dawson Knox is healthy now, and we know him and Josh Allen have a connection. They kind of always have. Khalil Shakir is week to week now. I don't know if you saw that. That's going to be interesting.
It's a high ankle, right?
Yeah, high ankle sprain, I believe it was. So that could limit him slightly.
The
biggest talk, what's that?
Those high ankle sprains.
Oh, yeah. Too. That might cancel me and Wiz's bet for Shakir versus Pearsall out. It just depends on if they miss the same amount of games.
Well, Pearsall's hamstrings haven't been looking good. So
it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And then all the buzz right now is on Keon Coleman in Buffalo. That there's been a lot of positive buzz around him. So Dalton Kincaid has the opportunity again to be a high target guy. I comped into Zach Ertz coming out of college. Zach Ertz was a really nice, solid route runner, got open quickly, was able to win down the field also. And I think Kane could do that. It's just the biggest thing when I watched them play, the games that I've seen, they were never, him and Josh Allen were just never on the same page for whatever reason. I don't know what it was. I don't know if Kincaid's running the wrong route or Josh is expecting him to do something else. Who knows? But it's just, he needs to get healthy. And I think that's the biggest thing, is to help build that relationship between those two, him being on the field, him being at practice, him, winning these routes that he's been winning, continuing to do that. And I could see him being a top 10 finish this year in PPR and in tight end premium. I'm still interested. I think he's pretty cheap at this point too.
And what's interesting? We just did a startup. It wasn't tight end premium, right? But Dalton Kincaid went in the 11th round. I mean, you want to talk about
great
all
value.
have the mighty fallen. I mean, he went behind a geriatric Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, Tucker Kraft even went ahead of him in this draft.
Well, we have a question on the right-hand corner there.
Oh, okay. Yep. What do we have?
Dalton Kincaid or Kyle Pitts?
Oh, yes. I couldn't wait to get to this. Easily Kincaid for me. Look, I mean, here's the thing. I tend to agree with what Mike said. I think that there's still got to be a connection built there between Josh Allen and Kincaid. I still think that there's some hope that can happen. And look, I mean, you got to look at it this way too. I mean, we know Kyle Pitts has been in the league a little bit longer, but would you rather trust the Atlanta offense right now or Buffalo? A little bit more explosive as well up there in Buffalo. And Mike mentioned the Khalil Shakir stuff. Like, this is right now, and we talk about James Cook with the contract thing. I mean, I know he's there, but I mean, you got to know that's in the back of his mind.
Business.
There's going to be opportunities for Dalton Kincaid to do something. Like, if you're going to do it, now's the time. We got to see it. It's got to be there. But I'm easily taking Kincaid on this one. I know Mike agrees. Wiz, where are you at on that? What's your thoughts on Dalton Kincaid?
Business.
That's a James Cook quote.
No. I mean, I definitely agree with Mike with everything he said, right? I mean, that injury, coming out, take it for whatever you want, right? That could be your excuse, or you could be like, oh, he's just making excuses for how bad he sucks or whatever. However way you want to take it, right? Kincaid, I've already just bought in so much that I'm going down with the ship regardless. I'm writing this thing down. And that same startup, Mike, I got Colson Loveland at 6'9", Mark Andrews at 8'9", and then Evan Ingram. And then I was like, why did all these tight ends fall? And I had checked the scoring. It's not tight end premium, so I'm an idiot for that one. But I'm not going out of my way to acquire more shares, right? I have a good amount. I think I have like 10 or so scattered across like 30 something leagues. So like a third roster percentage is good enough for me. It's probably a little too much, but you swing at the fences, right? I thought Dalton Kincaid, that if he hit his ceiling, he could be a tight end one type of guy. But now, Brock Bowers in the league, Trey McBride in the league. You're like,
he was what I thought Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta was what I thought Dalton Kincaid was going to be.
It's a good call.
Yeah, exactly. And if you could get, and the whole entire time, I'm like, if you get a Travis Kelce in his rookie year and have him on your roster for 20 years, like, I'm going to take that swing every time. And a lot of times you just, those big swings, you'll have more misses than hits. So,
yeah.
And to be honest, I think in his rookie draft as well, where was he getting picked? 110?
He's like 109, 110, 112 for the back end.
Yeah, if you miss there, it isn't absolutely crippling, right? If you did pick him in that range. But let me just say, this is kind of my closing thoughts on Dalton Kincaid. Like, I talk all the time about players. Like, I remember last year at this time, I was saying I wasn't as high on Dalton Kincaid as a lot of people were. Right now, it panned out.
Shit.
Yeah, but we all have that, right? But like, for me, that was just one I wasn't as high on, but it worked out, right? But like, now I'm saying, like, low key, I'm trying to move back in a little bit. Like, it's all a timing thing.
You're coming on board?
Well, I'm not buying, but like we talked about when he was getting picked 11th round in a startup. It's no tight end premium, but 11th round, I'll take a chance on a Dalton Kincaid with the upside potential there. I will take a chance. And let me just say this.
Would you rather have Njoku or Dalton Kincaid?
Man, that's actually a tough one for me, to be honest with you.
Njoku or Kincaid?
Yeah.
Kincaid. Look, I like Njoku, but like, he's always that 8 to 12 guy. Like, we see guys like Tucker Kraft that can just appear, Jake Ferguson. they can do that for me, right? Like I don't see David Njoku ever breaking the ceiling of tight end 8 or 9. So like, just go ahead. I'll gamble on the upside of Kincaid. If I miss out, I'm not too upset about that. But like if I could get my hands on a Loveland or a Warren, I would take them and just gamble on them at this point. But Kincaid, I would easily take him over Kyle Pitts. And I just have a feeling like his rookie year, what was he, tight end 10 or 11 or something like that? Like he was a tight end 1 his rookie year. So like if he gets,
I think so.
I think he was. I'm pretty
I
sure.
was just looking at Kincaid.
I'm pretty sure he never, because Dawson Knox was there and he stole like all of his touches, and they're like, oh, he's gonna be gone.
He was tight end 11.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
so he
still
was
not
a
bad.
tight end 1.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is it could get better. And if he gets to be tight end 7 or tight end 8, then if you got him for cheap or you picked him later in a startup, his value is going to skyrocket because people are going to get back in on that Buffalo deal. So
I just finished a startup where it's a tight end premium league. I got him in 908.
Yeah,
that's good value.
Yeah, it is. I mean, ride the wave, man. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying go in and invest heavily on them, but you get them from them type prices in a startup, or if you even get them cheap in a trade deal and you want to take a chance, I'm not against it. It's just a timing thing. And right now I feel like is a fairly good time. So why not take a chance and see what happens there? But, we're going to come into this one here, Wiz, because this one's interesting because this is the ultimate gamble of gambles. And you're a little bit more of a believer in this offense than what some other people are at this point. And this is more of an injury related risk. Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. From all reports on camp, he's looking back to full strength. They've been having him. They've been managing his workload in camp, so he's not getting overstrained. So you can take that with you probably should take a little bit out of that, right? Knowing that they're probably going to try to limit his workload this season, right? He's not going to probably get what he's been getting in his prime of his career, right? He's exiting his prime of his career, so he's not going to be getting all those touches. So
he's probably the only person healthy in San Francisco right now.
Isn't that a crazy
consistently, which is fucking crazy.
But I'm in on Chris McCaffrey, right? When we were holding the little how much would you buy him for? I think I was the highest on him. I think I said a first and a second, right? I was fine with paying. I mean, it still rings true. Just know to make sure Isaac Rendo and Jordan James are on your roster, to have both those guys back there. I'm more of a Grendo guy. TJ's more of a James guy, but I don't think it hurts to have both of them, especially when they're cheaper comes to just to acquire on your team, right? Just understand that, maybe those 20, high end 20s, like mid 30 points per game, they're going to be a lot slimmer than what they have been. And so you got to taper your CMC expectations down a little bit, but I still think like a mid to low 20s is a reasonable expectation for him, like on a weekly basis to perform, as long as he stays healthy, which I think he's going to stay healthy. I think Niners have bounced back this season. They have an easier schedule, so that's going to help them out since they played horribly last year. Still tough division, but I think they have a really good shot of winning their division this year.
Well, let me just say this, Wiz. I have always used the reference, and you got so upset when I used the reference of when a star becomes a black hole, right? This offense could potentially be headed that way, but I think with Kyle Shanahan, it isn't going to be quite that drastic. Like, I think Miami has a lot better chance of going that way than the 49ers do, but you got to be careful with this kind of stuff, right? No. And I think if it does go bad, I don't think it's going to be a complete rebuild. It's going to be more of a retool, and I think they could probably fix a lot of it. But Trent Williams is a big, big deal on this team. And I'll tell you what, if he's not available, a whole thing could really come crashing down. But let me just say this. I agree with you in the fact of 2026, we talked about it a lot, right? I mean, we're not super high, especially with later firsts. If you want to gamble on them, I have no problem with that, right? I mean, because you're trying to win. That's what we're trying to do. And if Christian McCaffrey gives us even 80% of Christian McCaffrey, that trade's worth it and going down the stretch if he's available. So I have no problem doing that. We'll just see. I mean, it's all injury related. This is a big risk, but I'm like you. I think just look, if this was going into 2027's draft class, I wouldn't do it. But sitting here in 2026, the time is right. I feel like if you want to take a chance, now's a decent time to do that. So, Mike, how do you feel about Christian McCaffrey? Would you still pay a later first sitting here right now, and you feel comfortable maybe with him getting it done if you couldn't get someone else to fill those shoes like a Derrick Henry or someone like that?
Would I feel comfortable? Probably not, because he's an aging running back on coming off a pretty decent injury. All camp news, like Wiz mentioned, has been super positive. But at the end of the day, at least I know I went down swinging, right? Yeah. I went down trying to buy a high value or a high value target, basically, in most fantasy football realms. Dynasty, redraft, doesn't matter.
Or just a blue chip
that's kind of the word I was trying to think of, but I blanked out for a minute there. That's at least I know I went down swinging, and him, Henry, Kelsey, Devontae Adams, like those are the guys you kind of want to, give that one last push, kind of. So I'm in on doing that for CMC.
Okay, I'm glad you're on the same page, but let me just ask you this in closing. How worried are you on the 49ers offense, scale of 1 to 10? I know you're
about a 7.5.
7. Okay. See, I'm more about a 5.5, but I mean, Wiz is like negative.
Well, that's crazy. How can you be like that low? Like, none of their wide receivers have been fucking healthy.
It doesn't matter, dude. San Francisco figures out a way, right? It's just a very plug and play, right? We saw like Juwan Jennings, right? A guy he was not really a highly sought after prospect. I'm assuming. I don't even know where he got drafted. I don't know if he ever got drafted. I mean, he had to get drafted at some point, or maybe he just signed on, but I don't even know what college he came out of, right?
I don't know. That team is also historically pretty banged up, whether it be just in the wide receiver.
Yeah, well, it's because that field is really bad.
You're just making that up. I don't know what you're saying.
I don't know. Like, it is crazy how many soft tissue injuries happen with the 49ers. It's almost as bad as MetLife Stadium. I know the Ravens, our defense is really bad with soft tissue injuries during training camp as well. We had Washington, he tore his Achilles or his ACL this year. And then we had like that stretch of 3 years in a row. It just tore ACLs, Achilles, everything was happening in minicamp. It was horrible.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely something to look for. But, Mike, I say 5.5, and half goes to a little bit more on the concern side. But I'm kind of like Wiz. Like, I think they'll find a way, but, I mean, there's going to be –
win.
Yeah, well, yeah. They also
kind of – They didn't do it last year, did they, though?
Yeah.
Well, I guess they're not really – they haven't won a Super Bowl with Shanahan. And they almost, though, and if almost counts, then they'd be Super Bowl winners. So
we also just, like, downplay that division. But that division, like –
that's a really good division.
But like they might all end up being like 9-8, but that's going to be a dogfight every single fucking week.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like the division, right? They always play tough against each other. It doesn't matter if one team's bad that year, right? And I don't know. I just think the Niners that they'll figure out a way to win, right? That's what they tend to do, right? Everyone counted out the Rams last year, and they end up winning the division. So
it's good. It's good culture. It's good culture. You could say it, Wiz.
No, I'm not saying that because they still haven't won a Super Bowl with that culture, so it can't be that good,
For fantasy football.
Little side note: you guys see that Trent Williams, like his news with his cancer diagnosis back in 2019, like how they told him like he had like a month to live or something like that? You guys see that story?
No.
Yes. Yeah, so,
what was it? Oh, James Conner.
No, Trent Williams.
Oh, Trent Williams. No, I saw the James Conner one. I didn't see the Trent Williams one.
Yeah. They discovered when he was playing for the Redskins, and the Redskins medical staff thought it was a cyst, and they were like, "Oh, you have nothing to worry about it," and that's what really like severed the ties with him and at the time Redskins, and that's why he went to 49ers. But yeah, he had like cancer on his head or in his brain or something. I don't know. I would try to say it, but I cannot pronounce that. Whatever it was called. So.
I think you're doing everybody a favor then, Wiz. We're going to go over to the last one here, and it's going to be Mike's to finish us off. A player he was higher on, and see where he's at right now, what went wrong, and if he has any kind of hope for the future. Anthony Richardson, Mike.
Oh, this has been the talk of the town recently because I don't know if you guys have seen it, but he looks cleaner is what some of the things I've seen coming out of camp for him. He's another dude where if you can get him for like that late first, like that late first, that early second, like that 201, 202, at least you went down fucking swinging again, right? You went in on a guy who's like in that super athletic, super, what's a Konami code? Is that the word? Type quarterback. I'm trying not to get my hopes up again, but I feel it coming through each passing thing I read out of training camp or each video that I see out of training camp. That one, he had a dime down the sideline to actually, it was Aston Doolin. It was like their fourth string wide receiver, but I keep trying. He keeps pulling me back in, man. Just the high upside, the elite upside, the arm talent that he has when it comes to deep down the sideline, deep down the field is pretty damn impressive. He just can't hit things that are 5 feet away from him for some reason. And that's the biggest thing. And again, I don't know, man. I'm trying not to buy at this point, to be honest with you. I've been really looking at his name on people's teams, and I'm like, should I try to gamble it? Should I really try this? And I'm just like, no, I can't. But each closing day, I get a little bit closer to hitting send trade proposal for Anthony Richardson.
Don't worry, Mike. I mean, you got you in the group chat. We got you. Just text us. We could talk you off the ledge a little bit there when it comes to Anthony Richardson. But now let me just say this, though. And I've said it on previous shows. You guys know this. And this is kind of what I mentioned with Dalton Kincaid, a player I wasn't super high on last year either. But there comes a time where things, you want to take a chance. I don't mind that, right? Because we talk about this 2026 class not being super strong. We mentioned it with Dalton Kincaid. Same type of deal, right? You want to take a gamble and maybe try to add quarterback depth. You want to add high-end athleticism. I have no problem with trading a high second, maybe 2 seconds, right? If you have them in 2026. You want to gamble. You're feeling frisky. You're feeling froggy. You want to jump. I have no problem with that. I'm just not the overhyping, right? We're not going to get back to that point of where it's going to be overvalued again. But right now I feel where we're at, we'll see what happens. And, I mentioned this, Mike. I mean, the only thing is, hopefully you did this a little bit beforehand, because when we get closer to the season in Superflex leagues, the grip tightens on quarterbacks, and that's the tough thing. So if the price goes up, I might not be as interested, but if you can still get them for a pair of seconds, a high second, maybe 112 or 111, I'll max out there. And you want to gamble, I have no issue, but I don't have a high degree of confidence. But as far as fantasy points, if he's playing this year, I think he's going to produce some fantasy points. But my thing is, how long is his NFL longevity going to be if he don't start producing wins? That's my biggest worry. So, Wiz, we're going to hop back over to you. What are you feeling about Anthony Richardson? Can you agree? I mean, kind of if you're hitting them values that I mentioned, that could be fair. Maybe you want to take a chance at that point. And what's your belief level and maybe him rebounding here a little bit?
Yeah, kind of in the beginning of the offseason, right, I was saying that Anthony Richardson still has that same upside he offered last year, 2 years ago, when he was getting taken in the second round of startup drafts. And now everyone wants out of him because they got burned really bad. It's like, if you believe in the upside, you should still be in and buying on these cheap prices. On rebuilding teams, if you have a Geno Smith, can you trade him straight up for Anthony Richardson, right? Even just throwing a little third on top of it, right, to get it done if that works. I mean, I was saying this in the beginning of the offseason. I did not do any of that. I have 0 shares of Anthony Richardson across the board. So, I mean, I did take my own advice there. It's just one of those, I don't know, Camp News is looking good, right? Where he's saying that he's been doing really well on completing intermediate and short passes. And if you read that for a Bryce Young thing, you'd be like, oh, this camp's going horrible for him. But Anthony Richardson fans are like, dude, let's go, dude. We can pass 5-10 yards down the field on dump offs and fucking hitch routes, curl routes. Like, oh, here we go. I don't know. Daniel Jones has also been looking. I think I saw reports that he's looking good. I can't really remember, but either way, none of those players really interest me. I mean, if someone came to my door and they offer me Anthony Richardson for a good discounted price for, I don't know. Mike, do you know how much you would have to pay right now? Because it sounds like you were thinking about sending offers. What kind of offer would you send to Anthony Richardson that you think could get it done?
I would start with a second to see kind of what their vibe is on it, and if I am a contending team, and they're like, "Well, look at your team. You know, you're X player away from winning this thing," and they're like, "What about your 26 first?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I might do that because if I'm looking like
I think I'd rather go Geno if I was contending. If I really need a second quarterback.
yeah, that's the safe way. You're right. There's nothing wrong with that, but I would be chasing a higher upside, don't you think?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, but if you're contending, right? I'm not trying to hit upsides. I'm trying to win a championship, right? If I miss out on Anthony Richardson, I mean, yeah, it'd probably suck because if he turns into a really great quarterback that most people thought he could turn into, then he's gonna be like a quarterback 7 overall, 5 overall, and that top-ish range, and you're gonna have a Geno Smith that's slowly depreciating value on your roster. But you won the championship, and that's all I care about, right?
But let me say
Especially
this.
that.
Let me say this, though. As a quarterback 3, right, maybe you already have your 1 and 2, and you want to add that depth because I'm a guy, you guys know it, Superflex Leagues, I like to have 3 of them. I like to have 3. That way I have an insurance policy. So, like, if you want Anthony Richardson from that standpoint, I totally agree. And Mike's right. Like, he's chasing higher-end upside, but Geno could be that steady guy that steadies the ship. But you got to remember, though, everyone's acting like Geno's a guarantee. And I do think it's going to work with the Raiders, and I do think being reunited with Pete Carroll, I mean, I'm 80% confident in that. But when you change teams and everything like that, there's no guarantees, right? Everything.
Real quick on Keep Trade Cut, and maybe I'm way too high or what the fuck is going on, but they have him at like a mid-second price, like 2.7. Like I think
you have it.
Richardson.
You have it on Superflex.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Make sure.
2.7, man. If I could get him for those all fucking day, you can.
Yeah.
You're taking a swing at that point anyway in your rookie drafts at 2.7. So
who's going at 2.7? Like, is that Scatterbo range?
Yeah, Scatterbo, Bashal Tootin. I'm just going back because like most rookie drafts are probably
like
over
maybe like Trey Harrison, Kyle Williams as well. So would you take Anthony Richardson? Like, where would you stop? I'm guessing Luther Burden is probably where you would stop that. Or maybe Trey Harris.
So for me, if I had to sell like a guy like Bashal Tootin, Cam Scatterbo, Kyle Williams, I'd be back and forth on. But again, we got to hold steady that he's a third round wide receiver draft pick, right? And the hit rate for them is kind of 50-50, maybe even less than that. So I think my cutoff would be around like that Higgins, Trey Harris,
Burden tier.
Yeah, Burden tier. And then when you get to like that 2.6, 2.7, I think I would absolutely be all over that.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I would 100% do that as well. And I don't know. I thought for sure you had to pay like 2 seconds at least.
I mean, you probably do because obviously we all know Keep Trade Cut's not the end all be all. It is a crowdsourcing website, and I like to look at it just to see what like the community's looking at. And when I see 2.7 in for him, I'm like, that can't be right. So if I could, if I had to send the 2.2 for him and it's considered an overpay, I'd fucking do it in a heartbeat. And again, a guy they have ranked above him, who is also an injury concern for quarterbacks, is Tua Tagovailoa. Who would you rather have?
Oh, Anthony Richardson. At this point, I mean, I just gamble. I mean, at worst, I'm losing out on a quarterback too. I can get them anywhere.
Yeah. They're talking Tua at like an early
Geno.
second. Oh my god!
I don't want. I really. I don't know. Like, I'm just thinking a lot of this. Like, if I had to choose between the two, I mean, I can't do it.
The Geno loves getting to be a little bit too much.
Well, it's not even like it's just how much I just don't want either of these quarterbacks. Really, I mean, like Tua. Here's shown that he could be a quarterback in the league.
Here's my thing.
They both have injury concerns, and Rich has the upside. So what do you want to choose?
Let's talk value though, real quick, right? Like, hey, let's say Tua comes out and he finishes as quarterback 14. The Dolphins' offense picks up a little bit. It looks good. But let's say Anthony Richardson comes out and finishes as quarterback 10. What do you think you could get for either of them once the season's over?
Oh,
I mean, I guarantee you, people will be back in a heartbeat.
But the thing is, like, Tua also has those explosive games that he drops 50-something points.
And he has some underwhelming ones where he drops 5.
Well, you ignore those. And because those don't push the narrative well, right? Like, everyone knows you have to sell Tua before it gets cold outside. Everyone knows that.
That's true. The thing with Anthony Richardson that also kind of piqued my interest this year, I don't know if you guys have seen it. Jim Irsay's daughter, I forget her first name, so I apologize, but they did an interview with her about Anthony Richardson, and she seems to think, or the way she made it seem, is that they're willing to give him more time than I think even us fantasy people are right now, because they understand he's still young. They understand that what has happened this past 2 years with him, and they still think they have some time left with Anthony Richardson. So that's interesting, because I think her father would have been the polar opposite response.
Oh yeah,
because he was very in depth with the team. Very, I don't want to say impulsive or anything like that. He was a little bit, but so it was very interesting to see what she said. So if you guys could find that, I want to hear what your thoughts are when it comes to what she said.
And I agree. Jim Irsay is very, what have you done for me lately? Let's win now. That's just kind of his style. I definitely agree with you on that, Mike. But my final thoughts on Anthony Richardson, look, 2 seasons. He's only played 15 games. You guys know he ain't my cup of tea. Finished quarterback 25 last year. A lot of negative things going on. I mean, he's going to finish better than that this year. If he's healthy, he'll finish better than that. And it's just a matter of, can he win the Colts enough games? And Mike just said it. Maybe they're going to give him more time. But if he finishes as a back-end quarterback 1 or a high-end quarterback 2, if you buy him for a mid-second, if you're lucky enough you could get that, then you're going to be able to flip him for way more than what you got him for, because he has that fan club. And I always like to ride the value wave, right? And right now it's down. I'm going to take advantage of it. When it goes high again, I'm going to take advantage of it again. That's Dynasty. That's typical way we play. So interesting thought on that. But I don't think we have a question of the week this week. So we'll be able to wrap the show up. And look, I really appreciate everyone tuning in live, listening to the shows. It's been awesome. You guys' support's been great. The numbers just keep going up, up, and up. And I do thank people like Mike and Wiz that are experts here that join us. Even though Wiz is from Alaska, we'll cut him a little bit of slack for that. It's okay.
I'm not from Alaska.
Well, you are now. You've announced your Illinois citizenship. You're now in Alaska.
Yeah, I live in Alaska.
So
from Alaska.
Real quick, I found the actual quote. It's Carly Irsay Gordon on Anthony Richardson. Where he is in his career and in his deal as a rookie, we still have time. He still has time to prove it, which that gives me a little bit of confidence that they're still willing to. I'm sorry, I was looking that up as we were talking because I wanted to detour. But that gives me a little bit more hope for Richardson, slightly.
Yep, and like I said, you got to take advantage when the wave's low. That's what we talk about all the time, guys. I mean, hey, it might not pan out, but if you lose out, you're not losing out on much. I was just one of them people that was anti-trading 3 firsts for Anthony Richardson when that was all going on. That was absolutely insanity. But look, this has been a great episode. Appreciate the support. If you guys are listening on Spotify, Apple Pod, Stitcher, Amazon, any of the big podcasting platforms, and you haven't yet, please follow and 5-star the show. It greatly helps, and we so appreciate it. Got a lot of stuff coming down the pipe here to talk to you guys about. The Dynasty DNA kickoff show will be taking a place week before the season. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have inter-promotional stuff going on. We're going to have all the guys from all the shows on together. We're going to talk about our thoughts on the 2025 season that's upcoming. You got to join us for that. And make sure to subscribe to Dynasty DNA on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at Dynasty DNA _. And I say it all the time. Make sure to follow and subscribe to Mike's podcast, The Dynasty Dogs, available on Spotify and Apple Pod as well. But I know I speak for Mike and Wiz when I say I hope you guys have a great rest of your week ahead of you. And we will see you all on the next episode of the Triple Threat Podcast.